Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Fatback 4 Daily. This show is sponsored by Paddy Power, a bookies, a website, and an app. If you gamble, please do so responsibly and remember to do so with Paddy Power. Now that the official business is out of the way, we'll apologise for the slight technical delay we had coming on. I'm not going to name and shame anyone, but it's great to have Grizz on board eventually.
Always bloody Gav.
Tonight, as you can tell, I'm joined by Gav and Grizz. Gav, how are you?
Great. Watching Grizz trying to power on an iPad for the last 20 minutes has been amazing. But other than that, perfect. All good.
It's one of the wonders of the world, you know, and it's if people could witness
the
it,
wonder
they'd
of the world.
appreciate it. It is, yeah. It really is a joy to behold. Grizz Khan, how are you, my man?
I'm okay now.
Yeah, good. You look relaxed.
A bit of tuition from online tuition from Gav, the technician.
There you go. You know, it's what friends are for at the end of the day, isn't it?
All's well that ends well. That's what I always say, Keith.
Exactly. I mean, we've lost half of our viewership, but you know, we'll get them back.
You know what I mean? Look at us now. We're all sitting here, three of us, all pretty.
That's it. Shooting the breeze.
That's it, exactly. That's the main thing.
So tonight, boys, what I want to talk about is the plans that have started to come out over the last few days for football coming back. We've seen a few stories leaking and a few reactions here and there. So I just want to get you our view on what you have sort of read and how you think it's going to play out in the coming weeks and coming months even, you know. Gav, what are you thinking?
It's changing every day, Keith. I'm being honest with you. There seems to be more of a push on finishing it.
Yeah.
You know, there seems to be. It's money. It's money driven.
Exactly.
You know, we've seen some mad stuff in the last couple of days with regards to neutral venues and you know, taking relegation off the table and promoting teams from the championship and you know, all sorts of stuff, which, you know, I don't believe them for a second. I'm being honest with you. If you promote the top three teams in the championship, you're going to have another four that will, or another three, sorry, that will be given out because they've missed out on. Well, you've another three that will be in the playoff positions, and then you've another probably 4 or 5 behind that believe they can get in there in the last 10 games.
Exactly, especially the championship. You're dead right, Gav. That's a minefield of a division at the best of times because you can be 3 points off the promotion, the playoff push at this stage, and end up in a relegation fight. You know, so there's so much that can happen there, and you know, it's going to whatever the outcome of this is, people aren't going to be happy. You know, and I think that's the main thing that's come through. Grizz, what are you thinking about it?
I'm trying not to.
Could have told me that before the show, and we would have got someone else on.
Honestly, honestly, but listen, we joke about it in our WhatsApp group, like, you know, what time are we going to start talking about it? You know, and inevitably it comes up in the conversation every single day. We just can't get away from it at the moment. And as Gav says, every day is a different version. Every day is a different theory. Every day there's a different objection from a different club, from an unnamed source, from an unnamed chairman. It's mental. Look, the levels of optimism have arisen for football coming back.
Yeah.
And the only reason for that at the moment is, as we've said before, because the only facts that we have to work with are everyone in terms of the authorities wanting it to come back. And that's the only factual information we have. After that, it's just meeting after meeting, and what the outcome of these meetings are not even very clear as well. There's not much transparency. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're very shady. It seems to be like sort of we have these meetings. They're getting better, but there's, you know, all we're hearing is club XYZ have objected to these, you know, options put forward by the, you know. At the end of the day, we just have to wait for the government to tell us it's safe to play football again for the footballers, and that's it. There's no doubt that it will be behind closed doors. So that's fact one we know, right? we know it will come back. That's fact too. Now it's just a matter of when and how. And that, we just have to wait for. I think it's just a waiting game.
Exactly. It is just a waiting game, Grizz. And it's a game that, depending on your position, the vocal clubs are the ones that are leaking, are all the ones that have something to lose from whatever the outcome is. We've the snippets that come out, be it West Ham, be it Brighton, be it all these other teams that are down the bottom. It's becoming more, I think, apparent and obvious now that there's a very much a self-serving agenda being driven by certain clubs. And look, we have our own agenda for this. We want this to restart because we want to win the league, but we want to rightfully be crowned champions, something that we've sort of earned. And that's a different thing altogether. Whereas these guys down the bottom, or not only the bottom six teams, the bottom six are getting lashed out, but I'm finding, to be honest, that Spurs are one of the chief complainers as well. And they've had an absolute nightmare of a season, so you can see why they're looking to talk about avoiding things.
But it's totally understandable as well. I mean, most clubs in the situations they work would do the same thing probably as they are currently doing. We can't say they're wrong for doing or saying what they're doing, because we don't know. If we were in the situation, we would probably do the same. Our owners are known to have, made the odd blooper, right? They correct them afterwards when the mighty fan base tells them about themselves. But look, our issues, and everyone said it, and it's said to death, and this is why I don't really participate in these online conversations when on Twitter, whatever, because with other clubs fans, because our situation is we're the ones sitting with a cigar in our hand, and I can explain, we're fine, we're cool. We're just waiting to be crowned champions. That's all we're waiting for. Whether it's on the pitch, which we'd love, or off the pitch, which is a bit of a damp squib, but it is what it is.
I'll take it.
It's already a damp squib in terms of no crowds, right? But we're just waiting to be crowned Premiership champions whenever, however. It's the rest of the situation, the rest of the clubs, that it's a pure, it's a pure jungle out there, isn't it, at the moment? It literally
exactly
is.
And it's a twofold sort of situation. And you're right there, Grizz. It's a lot of teams. They have a lot of their business plans are riding on what happens with this, and they'll look for any sort of advantage they can get. And then you've got fans as well that are looking, I'll constantly say this, Gav mightn't like saying it, but, if this was other clubs, it wouldn't be the furore to get things voided. But because it's Liverpool, I think, it's an easy stick to poke. Scousers, debate, everything, we'll dive on any little comment. And I think it's trying to separate what clubs are doing and what fans are doing. And it's hard to do at this time. Gav, have you got any thinking around the agendas that are being out there in the media?
Listen, supporters are always going to be supporters, right? If this was, I suppose, Liverpool fans, we feel that only because it's Liverpool, people are looking for the null and void. I don't really go along with that.
I know.
I think if this was Manchester United, if it was Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, any of those, it's opposition fans to whoever's miles in front, hoping for the opportunity that, a team that's literally 25 points clear with 9-10 games to go don't get given the title, and they're able to laugh at them about it. That's what it is. It doesn't matter that it's Liverpool. I think it'll happen with anybody.
I don't know.
No, I think we think of it through the Liverpool kind of prism. It's not. It'll be. Trust me. If this was Manchester United, people would love to laugh at Manchester United.
I know, but we also are a club that they make songs about Steven Gerrard slipping.
Oh, I know. No,
an anniversary of the slip. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I get that. I get that. I get that.
But spice when it's us.
It probably is. There is. There's probably.
Look, it's literally a case of.
I'll just stay quiet over here.
You're taking too long to make your point. It's literally
8 minutes your last answer was.
And I'm saying that it's literally a case of wherever club gets the most clicks at that time. At this precise moment in time, I'd say we are probably the most attractive in those terms in world football. Probably Real Madrid or us. We just get that attraction. We are so huge. We are so massive. We are so good. We are so clear that, as Gav says, it's just a case of, talk about Liverpool. And I've said, we're the least to talk about. Yeah. There is zero chance of us not becoming Premier League champions. So what Gav's saying about other clubs, fans, etc., they're wasting their effing time. They're wasting their time because we're not the issue. Sort your own issues themselves out, and as you said, the relegation and League One, etc., Championship. That's the issues and the top 4 places. So they're just wasting their time and energy online or offline or in with mates conversations and pubs or whatever. Oh, let's First of all, none of them have any influence, or no one has any influence on what the outcome will be. Simple. No one, not even the chairman of this group. They can make it hard. Your Karen Brady's of this world can maybe, if there's a concerted effort of about 7-8 clubs, maybe they can get the league stopped, like cancelled. But they can't stop us being made Premier League champions.
Some of the like, going back to your original question, Keith, were about the campaigns out there and the conspiracy theories and all. Like, players are being wheeled out in front of cameras now, getting calls over phones to give quotes and stuff like that. And it started off as, we don't know if we want to go back, if it's safe, and then it went from, well, the government will make sure it's safe because they'll do, A to Z on whatever needs to be done. And then there's talk of relegation. Let's take relegation off the table. And again, listen, this, I don't mean to sound bad, right? But if this is about money, this is about stature, this is about where you end up at the end of the season, right? And the only ones I can find any thought of giving out is, like you said, Spurs. You have West Ham are giving out. Like, Norwich City have been quiet enough on it. Norwich City are bottom of the league. Norwich City are most certainly going down, unless there's a massive change in their fortunes. They haven't said anything. It's the ones hovering around. Brighton will play in neutral grounds once relegation is off the table. Now that's going to be shot down very quickly because. But why is it shot down, Keith? It's shot down because TV companies won't have a part of it. Because why would TV companies show a competition where there's no basically 50% of the results in the final results in the league won't be there, which is the 3 relegation places. And
it is ridiculous.
Yeah, we can go around in circles all day, but at the end of the day, right? Money pushes it, TV companies push it, and let's be honest, TV now have the Premier League over a barrel in a massive, massive, massive way, because they can turn around now and say, you finish it behind closed doors, we'll show it on TV. It's not what we signed up for because there's no crowds in the grounds. All right, that's out of your control, so we let that go. But they're going to hammer them next season. Hammer them. And I keep saying this, the Premier League itself as a brand, okay, football clubs at the rate of money they make and the way they spend it and the standards they try to set themselves with the on-field stuff, players on the field and their reputation and their stature out off the field, they all need money, and they're not going to take 2 hits on this. That kind of way. They're just not. It gets finished behind closed doors, in my opinion, and I stick to that, and I will stick to that until it's confirmed otherwise, I'm being honest.
And I think it moves me on nicely to something we did want to talk about, and I'm sure you've seen the comments and seen the interviews and read the report. Steve Parish, the Crystal Palace chairman, had said over, he done a Sunday Times column, and he spoke at length about what he feels, should happen. And I suppose it's easy to say it's a great piece that he wrote because, number one, it benefits Liverpool at the end of the day, and number 2, Crystal Palace maybe are not in any immediate danger positionally of dropping out of Premier League. But if you read the article, it's a very, very good article. It's an honest article. He says that, players worrying it'll be the safest environment that they can possibly play in if they do get these Premier League games played behind closed doors. He said it'll be safer than going to the supermarket. You know, they'll be tested, they'll be quarantined, they'll be, you know, top of the range facilities and all that. So he sort of doesn't buy into the fact that it'll be a risk to them. Now, I know that's his own opinion, but the key thing that he says, and it's something you said, Gav, all along, is the driving force behind all this is going to be money. Cash rules everything around me, and that is what's going to get this back on the road. Whether other fans like that, whether Karen Brady likes that, or Paul Barber at Brighton likes that, it's going to come down to money, and they're going to get this league finished. And in his article, he also mentions that next season could be behind closed doors. You know, so there's so much this nonsense.
It most certainly will be.
Yeah,
it most certainly will be.
This nonsense about scrap it and just start it in September or August when it's safe to do so is an absolute nonsense. It's not going to happen.
No, Keith, just going back to your point about this article by Parish, and with regards to you saying it is just one chairman's opinion, possibly, you know, speaking on the behalf of his players, probably speaking on the behalf of his players, how they feel. But today, you know, as we said, different articles, different viewpoints every day. Now, today, the article has come out just about a couple of hours ago. I saw it, talking about every club doctor of the Premier League teams has written to to the league to see how they will, you know, sort of make sure or enforce these kind of safety, safety aspects and questions that need answering. So we're moving along. It means there is progress being made. There's avenues being sought. And it's just a waiting time. Now that's fine. It's a lovely article. Again, you know, it just not just because it favors us, but it's, as you said, it's very rational because he's in the middle. He's not in danger, or there's no agenda. There's no narrative. It seems with him. So you take that on board. But again, it won't have any influence over the government, you know, the medical people of this country telling us when we can go out, which will hopefully be in the next lockdown, when the next meeting is, lockdown will be eased. And part of that easing, I feel, will be for clubs to get back to training, which is a signal to get back to playing. So, you know, if you ask me right now, today, as of all the information we have, all the articles that we've read and everything, to me, it seems like we're working our way towards footy behind closed doors, testing of the players done in like a World Cup format type thing, you know, all congregated over a number of neutral venues, you know, and that's how it's going to go. And it's we can argue or talk about morality and sort of the the moral obligations of players and safety of players, but that's what's going to happen.
But that was the thing as well with Parish's article, was he touched on the business side of it for clubs like Palace, that there will be repercussions the longer it goes. Gav, have you anything that you think, have you looked at the article? Have you any opinion on what Parish says?
I've seen some of the comments that he's made, and you know, one of them, of course, the big one that came out of it, and of course was splashed everywhere, was he wants to see Liverpool crowned as champions. There's going to be repercussions, but like David Lennon is asking there, I've put it on screen, like next season could be voided. What if a second wave hits? Yeah, that's always a possibility. The only thing is, you know, you have to look at the here and now, and Grizz is right. Money dictates it. It just does, and there's nothing we can do about that. There's nothing we can do about it. Money dictates what goes on. Basically, if they have the infrastructure in place to test every player, every official, every member of staff that needs to be at a stadium on any given match day, if they're going to use St. George's Park, they're going to do all the staff there. They're literally going to probably work a month in advance and just test to clear out exactly. And basically, like he also asked earlier, I think David Lennon, how can they make it safe? Well, basically what will happen, in my opinion, will be, you know, they're going to say, right, listen, we have, for argument's sake, we have 5 neutral stadiums, okay? There's going to be 2 games a day, at these stadiums. So obviously that's 20 teams. So that's a weekend of Premier League football. And what we're going to do is we're going to put staff A, B, and C, D, and E in 5 days a week, whatever it is. They're going to map out exactly who's going to be in those stadiums on each given day, for each given game, and then they're going to test all these people. And then they're going to say to you, right, you're tested, you're fine. You will now be literally in fucking solitary. Okay, from now till this time is finished, and that's how it's going to work. Money makes the world go round. And listen, we're talking, but we're talking about football, right? Okay. And football's getting pilloried for this, right? That how could football come back when? And people want fucking Marks and Spencers open.
Yeah,
you know,
Barbers.
people want Primark open. Yeah, people want the barber open. Well, you want KFC open. But like you know what I mean? Football. It's always the same, and it's a bit similar to footballers. Footballers say something and they get absolutely lashed out of it. A less famous person that's not a footballer that won't get the attention, or I suppose garner you the attention by, you know, saying something about them, doesn't. So when they start to look to open up certain shops, when they start to open up certain businesses, oh, don't worry about that. Let's just focus on football and how bad it is. And the funny thing is, right, football probably has the most money, more than all of them. So they actually have the people and the structures and the facilities in place to make this as safe as way more safe than queuing in fucking Greg's for a sausage roll. And, you know, Jacinta there will fucking make sure that you're 2 meters away from the girl behind you. That, you know what I mean? So
she coughs on your Cornish pasty and hands it to
you. And wipes our fucking mouth in the tea towel. But the gas, the thing for me is just going back to his piece on it. The repercussions are going to be huge for the things, and this is why I keep going back. They can't afford to be hit twice, Keith, because if they turn around tomorrow and they say, right, listen, it's not safe enough, we're going to have to do a points per game system. Here's what it turns out. Funnily enough, Liverpool will end up with about 107 points, which would be amazing. And that's the way it's going to stand. TV companies straight away will say, well, that's not what we paid for.
Yeah.
Okay. If we wanted to do that, we'd play Championship fucking Manager all day.
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to get hit there, and then they go to next season. They go, now you didn't finish last season, and now this season you're going to do it behind closed doors. Okay. And now you're still not going to guarantee us that that's will finish, because as David Lennon says, if a second wave hits, what do we do? Exactly. We start going to the computer again, don't we?
Yeah.
So the TV companies are getting slaughtered, Keith. With people cancelling their fucking subscriptions all over the place, right? They're getting absolutely manhandled at this stage, and they're going to protect themselves as much as a Premier League club or, you know, the FA. So the repercussions are huge for clubs, but they cannot afford to. They just can't.
And you're right, Sky Sports are putting on another FIFA blading tournament at the weekend with players of clubs and celebrities again. They had a league of their own on Sky Sports main event the other night. You know, it's desperate. It really is, and we can laugh and be flippant about that, but it is true. It's going to be big business. Now, something that Grizz said a minute ago was the Premier League sort of will be told by government. I slightly disagree with that. I think Premier League they won't be sort of told what to do. I think there'll be an involvement by the Premier League, a negotiation with government to get it, because it's unlike any league in the world. The money that the Premier League have and are bringing in is too big. Parish's interview, I think he said the amount of tax and all that's going into the exchequer through Premier League is about 3.3 billion. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's huge. So I think there will be, you know, if Premier League can get it back up and running, I think pressure will be on the government to look, let's try this and see where we go with it. Whether it works out or not, look, that's a different thing, but I think they have to try it and see what happens with it. I know people will think you send players off to nearly like a prison camp for a few weeks. Well, look, if that's what they have to do, that's what they're going to have to do. They're not going to like it. But at the end of the day, contracts have to be fulfilled, whether that be player contracts to clubs, whether that be TV contracts, whatever. There's going to have to be some movement on what way this plays out. Now, that brings me on to something else that I want to talk about. Has anyone seen Gordon Taylor's stuff that he's come out with? I know we touched on some of the mad shouts that are coming out, but has anyone seen what he's been saying?
I seen something on Twitter earlier asking, was he drunk? What was going on?
He's talking about, you know, loads of subs instead of just 3. like increasing the amount of subs, but he also thinks that 45 minutes a half is too much. So they might look to shorten the length of the half. I don't know whether it's just 2 half hours or whether he's looking to do 3 half-hour tours, or I don't know. Now, it's not his ideas, in fairness to him. He was just saying that these are some of the suggestions that are on the table. Now, whether that's just him and his secretary's table, I don't know. But one of the things is the relevance or irrelevance, really, that Gordon Taylor has, because I think he's somebody that is holding on to a job that he is outdated. He's been there too long and certainly is stale. Now, I respect unions. I'm involved in the union in my own job. But one of the things that I think about during COVID-19 is, how are unions going to handle when things are coming back? Are they going to start getting ridiculous and getting greedy? And I was thinking, not along the lines of football. I was thinking of my own job. I was thinking about other jobs that we'd heard about, how are unions going to involve? And Taylor comes out with this nonsense, and it just sort of highlights to me that these guys will be on, and they will be looking for that pound of flesh. Does anyone think the players' union will make a big deal out of this? Will kick up too much of a stink, or will there have to be negotiations around the table for everyone?
Grizz, you want to take that?
Go on, Gav.
Okay. I don't think players are all sitting there at home. 25 players in a Premier League squad, multiplied by 20, it's 500 people, right? So I don't think that they're all, them 500 players are all sitting around not talking to each other. Yeah. Not having a chat with whoever the kind of representative is, at dressing room level or the PFA or whatever else it is. So they're having discussions about it. Like, I've left that question up on the screen deliberately. What if a player doesn't feel safe to play? Well, what I would say to you is, I know that's a very reasonable question, all right? But if the clubs go to players and say, okay, listen, there has been COVID-19, right? And I'm not being flippant in saying this, and I'm not being, just don't be minding the players. The players are the fucking game, you know what I mean? Yeah. So if you don't have the players, you don't have the game. But if I always try looking from an employment sort of view, like I'm looking at, if the government come out and say, right, we're testing everybody and this is what we're putting in place, and we're making sure they're literally going to try cast iron that nobody in that enters a stadium or St. George's Park for a game, whether it be media, commentators, players, staff, medics, whatever it is, they are going to try their absolute best to make sure that none of these people have the coronavirus. Okay, so that's trying to keep the safety standards to an absolute maximum. And I don't know what grounds genuinely, I don't know what grounds the players would have if the government bring in regulations to say, this is what we need in order for Premier League football to start again. This is what needs to be met, and they're met.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. People have to go to work every day, and they're worried about catching it and bringing it back to their families and stuff. I absolutely get that. But you're probably going to end up with the safest environment you can think of to play a game of football in. Like, the safest.
That really is it, isn't it?
That's what I'm thinking.
Like mixing with 100,000 fans. It's going to be close quarters. It's going to be, you'll be with your team and your team officials. You mentioned it earlier and touched on it. The sports science people and all the Premier League clubs will be on top of everything. They'll make sure that there's nothing sort of the players are keeping their distance, but they're keeping their fitness and sharpness and all. There's no reason for players to worry about that. And an interesting thing that I'd seen, I don't know if you've seen this earlier, Dean Smith done an interview about Aston Villa, and Dean Smith came out and said, look, they want to finish the season on the pitch. He says, but they're going to, if it happens, they're going to be without two of their key players because they have asthma.
Okay.
What can you do?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And it is a fair point. And asthma is something that how many footballers have.
Yeah, no, that's an absolutely fair point. It's an absolutely fair point. It's just, look, if a fella has asthma and he has any sort of breathing difficulties, which is mad to think of as a professional footballer. But if they have that and they say, listen, I have this, and although you're making this absolutely as safe as humanly possible, I'm still a bit uncomfortable with it. Fine. Do you know what I mean?
And the flip side, sorry for cutting across you, the flip side of that is they're going on like as if this is a big loss that they're going to be out. Player could break his leg and be out for 8 months. You know what I mean? So sometimes you have to just deal with this. And if this is the new normal, the new consequence of COVID-19, well then unfortunately that's what you have to do.
Yes, sorry, absolutely. Grizz is back with us.
You're right, Grizz.
Or is he just frozen on the screen?
Frozen. It's a frozen picture.
Just a frozen picture of Grizz.
I like it.
Take him off there.
That was one for the ladies.
One for the ladies. I was going to ask questions there, but I'm not the host, so you walk away, my friend.
Now, listeners, before we move on, actually, anyone out there listening, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. As ourselves, we'll try and grow this as much as we can. So, again, we're talking about, player safety. Sergio Aguero, I know, came out saying players are frightened. Glenn Murray came out saying players are frightened. Surprisingly, it's none of the... Again, I keep harping back. It's the teams nearly with an agenda, that are worried, and are Harry Winks the same. These guys are saying that players are worried, but you can, as we said as well, you can catch COVID-19 in the supermarket. So are these players going to retire from football for fear that they're going to catch the virus, or what's their agenda? Because it's not going away. Just because they play in, and the plan is for June. That could get pushed back to July, when all's said and done. It's not like they're looking to start this weekend. Do you know what I mean? There's still a bit of time before they plan to do that. So I think there has to be a bit of realism and a bit of give and take, a bit of moving from all parties to get this off the ground, really.
Oh, they will. They'll have to. I think Grizz is back there now. You're back, Grizz.
He's wave at us. It's not a picture again, is it?
Blink twice.
No.
All right, okay. He's good. No, listen. There's gonna have to be not even a bit of negotiation with regards to when it comes back and stuff like that. People are going to have to help each other. And what I mean by that is Barry Carr had stuff up there about players, subs. Managers, ambulance crews, cameramen, whatever you would need, they'll all have to work in conjunction with each other in order to get this back and running. Now, it's going to take a hell of a lot of work. It's not a case of, right, lads, we've decided on Friday, we're going back on Wednesday. Everyone meet up at St. George's Park and we'll see where we go. But there's no way that, I've said for a while, I believe they're probably working a month in advance, and they're working towards a monthly target. And if that target looks like it's not going to be hit, let's have another meeting and put the target out and keep going. And that's just the way it's going to have to be, But let me just say before you come in, Grizz, and I just want to put my hand up and say this, right? I don't care if they hand Jordan Henderson the trophy in a fucking bus shelter, okay? I don't care if they do it on points per game. I don't care if they take Douglas Lewis, whatever his name is, Duckworth Lewis, right? And they take him out and they say, listen, trophy balls there. I don't care if there's a fucking octopus in Germany wants to do the pills on the matches. Liverpool will be champions and will be declared champions. That's all I care about. I don't care how it comes. It takes no gloss off it whatsoever from me, right? No gloss whatsoever. When Liverpool are confirmed champions, whether that's at St. George's Park with nobody there, or the computer does all its maths and comes out and says a thing, I'm just going to go on the lash. And that's the end of it. It doesn't mean fuck all to me how it's done. And listen, if they want to put an asterisk beside it, and if arseholes like Gary Neville want to wear asterisks on the lapel of their fucking suit when they're on Monday Night Football, go ahead. Because all I know is that's annoying you even more.
Exactly. And that's the thing. That's a great point, actually. The asterisks would not bother me in the fucking slightest.
No, the asterisk is only to show that we didn't get a chance to hammer you even more.
Yeah. I don't think in general, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm giving the Liverpool fan base too much credit, but I think if any fan base would sort of look at that and say, wear it nearly like a badge of honour, it's the Liverpool fans, because there is an anti-establishment sort of nature to Liverpool. And anyway, so I think it's a one fan base that'd be like, deal with it.
Grizz, the asterisk just says that we just got away. The beating we're handing you've got it done over 29 or 30 instead of 38. Consider yourselves lucky. Would you not agree? Frozen again, is he?
Guys,
No, he's not.
I'm really struggling to. I'm here, but I'm struggling to hear your question. Is cracking up, so
Okay.
I'll buy in when I can't.
This is
I
hilarious.
didn't quite catch that last question.
Okay. Have you anything to say, Grizz?
It's like you know that Dalek in is it Dalek in Star Wars? It's like patches your question, man.
All right. Okay.
Right, well, number one, Gav doesn't know anything about Star Wars.
Never
so
seen one.
he can tell you there's no Daleks in it. And anyway, Grizz, is Timo Werner done? He's frozen. He can't hear us.
No, he's gone. I'm not putting up with that. What was I going to say to you? What were we saying?
The asterisks. We were saying about the asterisks about how we've, it's just a sign that, look, we smashed the arse off you for whatever 29 games. We would have done it.
But it's not like I'll put it to you this way, right? In 40 years' time, the year is 2060, right? Okay, and my grandchild, right, turned around and says to me, I was looking through the fucking league the other day and I seen this asterisk. What's that about? You just open the page and go there. And they go,
the league table.
They were 25 points clear and they still tend to play. Literally, it's like a referee pulling a boxer off you when you're getting the head knocked off you in the corner. Yeah. That's basically, they should have an asterisk beside everybody else instead of us.
It is, yeah. That's true, yeah. Like, how are you fucking 25 points behind? How's Man City 25 points behind Liverpool rather than Liverpool 25 points ahead? Yeah. How are, Spurs with Jose Mourinho not doing anything? How are Ole being at the wheel and they signed the best player in the world in Bruno Fernandes? Yep, they're still where they are. There's so many questions that, the asterisks, we are the easiest part of this whole thing, and an asterisk will not bother me in the slightest. You're right, open the things. Why is there an asterisk? There you go. Well, we were 25 points ahead, but, they called it off. But technically, you didn't win the league, did you? As well, we lost 2 games in the last 2 years, and somehow they think we're going to lose 10 in the next 10 games.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Let me give a bit of advice to any Liverpool fan out there, because I'm sure there is some, right, that'll say, oh, the fucking asterisks, my mates would be fucking at me, like, we didn't actually, the final whistle didn't go, and all. Listen, come here, I fucking tell you, the final whistle went around when Liverpool beat Leicester City at the King Power on the 26th of December 2019. That was the final whistle on the league. All right, forget about anything else. And when your mates are sitting there, United fans going, well, you actually didn't win it. Well, we did, because it's there in black and white that we won it. Oh, there's an asterisk beside it. Yeah, because they let you off for another 10 league game beaten. That's the end of it. You know what I mean? Like, what's to say Liverpool don't go and win this by 40?
Exactly, and that's the thing, and if anything, we're getting robbed of that, you know what I mean? So, no, I don't buy into that asterisk nonsense. I think it's a load of shit myself. But, there will always be that argument. But as I said, I think we're one fan base that can sort of take that. I know I can. I will laugh in the face of anyone that's like, oh, well, you didn't really. Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah. We'll move on from that for a sec. Did you see Rick Parry's... Rick Parry is now the CEO of the EFL, and his comments that came out with today. Did you see much of that about the repercussions from the lower leagues if there's relegation and promotion?
I didn't see it, but I would presume he's gone along the lines of a lot of teams are going to go into they're going to collapse. Yeah,
well, he said that, but he led with a lot of them will be going on to their solicitors because the Premier League will be getting sued left, right, and centre. He says they can't. What he said, they can't break the terms of their, that it would be a breach of I have this wrote down, a tripartite agreement that they have between the EFL, the Premier League, and the FA. That there's this talk of removing promotion and relegation just is a non-runner, which makes all the sense in the world. That's just something that's getting thrown out by desperate teams down the bottom looking to save their skin. I think it's a sign of masks slipping all over the place that they're looking to have this removed. I think it's very, small time and petty by them. But one of the things he also said was, about talking about the evils of parachute payments for relegated clubs. Now, the irony of that is, I think he was one of the Premier, you think he could have been the Premier League chairman at the time when all this got brought in, so it's Rick is I think forgetting about his previous sins in a past life when he's talking about this, but he does bring up good points that this isn't just about the Premier League, and we can say all we want.
The Championship is arguably bigger of an argument than the Premier League.
They sell it
Genuinely.
on that. They sell it on the biggest game in world football is the promotion, the playoffs final to get into the Premier League. Now you can't in one hand sell that as the biggest game in the world and then dismiss it and treat that league like it's nothing. A lot of Liverpool fans don't like Leeds. I've no problem with Leeds, to be honest. Leeds deserve promoted to the Premier League. It's as simple as that. One of the things that we did touch on earlier about we didn't hear much from Norwich. I don't know if you heard Daniel Farke speaking about, he said Liverpool deserve their glory on the pitch. He said Leeds deserve it on their side on the pitch. And he also said Norwich deserve to play out their games. I don't know what their chances of survival are. But it's easy to forget that it's a pyramid system, that it's not all about the Premier League. But is there any talk, and now I don't know the answer to this, so I'm asking if you don't know or one of the listeners might know, what's the plan for the EFL? I mean, surely they're not going to be playing all them games behind closed doors. Are they League 2, League 1, or is that the get everything done? Because we look at it purely from a Premier League.
You see, the thing for me is like, and like you said, you know, people on YouTube or Periscope, whatever they're watching, would probably tell me I'm wrong here. But just from a very simplistic point of view, right? The likes of Brighton, if it's to be believed, asking for relegation to be taken off the table, okay, is ridiculous, right?
It is.
The second thing is, if they go on a points per game basis, right, you're going to end up with 3 teams relegated, okay? Now, them 3 teams will probably file lawsuits, right? And what will the lawsuit say? Because we didn't get our chance to actually change the position we got in the league. Okay, so they all want to play it, right? And the reason they'll want to play it is because the thought of relegation being taken off the table for me is just a no-go, simply because the TV companies just will not have it, right? No. Should he sell the bleeding season on the final days of the season and the race against the race to survive and the all this sort of stuff, right?
And that's going to have to be even increased if it's behind closed doors being streamed. If they're going to try and sell this as a product, certainly not going to do it if it's training games. Do you know what I mean?
No, and all this talk of reducing things and time and on the pitch, you can't. It's in the laws of the game how long a pitch, fucking long a game is, or a half of football is meant to be. You know, the kind of way. So then that's the Premier League, right? So in most people's interest, bar I would say probably the 3 teams just above the relegation zone, everybody will want to play it. Right, because if you go right down the league, like if you look at the top 4, I can't even remember what the top 4 is now. Liverpool, City, Leicester, Chelsea, I think, United, Wolves, Sheffield United are quite close behind. Arsenal are there as well, right? Spurs are in the middle somewhere, along with Southampton and another couple, right? So they probably don't care. Spurs want it null and voided because they think they get into Europe, when they don't realise that you can't get into Europe next season if you haven't qualified from this season. It doesn't work like that, right? But then it drops down, Keith. Right, and it drops down to the Championship. Now, the Championship do sell it on the biggest game in world football is the playoff. It's the richest league in the world to come out of. Right? What I mean by that is get out of the Championship, and it's richest. It's way richer than some of the top leagues around Europe. Right, in terms of money you get for promotion. So the Championship will have to do something, right, in order to finalise this. Now, if they do it by points per game, you're going to end up with a lot of teams saying we didn't get a chance to get into the playoffs, we thought we could, and we wanted to play it. The Championship is part of the EFL in League 1 and League 2. Now, the only argument against League 1 and League 2 would be the TV money is not that high. It's similar to the way Holland is, and to a certain extent France. The money in France isn't actually massive when you think about it, right? So, but the EFL can't make one decision for one league and tell the other 2 that they can't have it.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Do you get what I'm saying? So and they have the same structure. They have the same. Yeah, and they have the same structure throughout the 3 leagues. 2 go up, 4 go into playoffs, or I think 3 might go up in League 2. 4 go into playoffs, and it's usually 3 or 4 go down. Right?
Yeah.
And it's just it's a domino effect. So what Parry is saying is correct. It is a domino effect, and he has got this. They have got this contract with the FA and the Premier League, because they all have to work together for not only their own leagues to work, but to work within the confines of each other as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's
They talk about the integrity of the game, and yet the clubs are the ones trying to absolutely strip the integrity out of the game. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
What is it? Let me see. I have to put this up on the screen for you. Sorry.
Kaylee. Yeah, Liverpool.
Oh no, they are.
Big. Yeah, that I don't
They
think
are
there's
winning,
any doubt about that. You know, and I think it's I think the null and void brigade, I think it's dwindling for them. I think the reality is coming from the likes of these. When you hear Steve Parish coming out and saying what he's saying, and you're hearing now what's coming out from chairwomen, whatever chairpersons, there's the tone seems to be, look, we're going to get this finished. Liverpool will be made champions. There's no, I don't think, doubt about that. It's just how. Whether, as Gav has said, whether it's on the pitch, which I will be exactly celebrating it like it's, you know, like it's if I was in Anfield with them, you know what I mean? I will not let that detract from how I celebrate.
Not one bit.
Whether it's handed to them by a points per game thing, whatever happens, Liverpool will be crowned the champions. And the null and void people, they got a big lift from what happened in France last week with PSG when they thought the league was voided, and within a few hours it's like, no, Paris Saint-Germain are being given they're being crowned the champions. They were 12 points clear in that league, and they were being called the champions. Now, Liverpool, the easiest thing for the Premier League to do is just say, right, Liverpool are the champions, but it's everything else is the mess. But I think when it comes down to it, there's no doubt that Liverpool will be crowned champions, and I'm sure Gav, you agree with that.
Oh yeah, no, they'd be crowned champions, and you know, people said, well, what if they did null and void it? And I can, no, we're still champions. In my head, Liverpool are champions. It doesn't bother. I don't care what anyone says, and nobody will change my mind on that. You know, people have spoken about integrity of the game and this, that, and the other. Keith, we go back to it. It's money, okay? It's money. It's commercial revenue. It's everything that coupled in. And listen, at the end of the day, right? Football clubs are businesses. We hear this said week in and week out. Now, what business, right, of any standing or any sense, right, amongst its directors, its accountants, its financial advisors, whatever they be, what sort of business goes down the road where we literally let's null and void this season and I'll take 100 million quid here. Nobody fucking does it. That's the first thing. No business out there, right? Unless you are absolutely making billions and billions a year, okay? I.e. Apple, all right, or Microsoft, or someone like that, right? Or Nutella. I'd say Nutella are a massive company.
Nutella,
but massive, I'd say. But you know, like no business is going to do that. So now the null and void thing, just it's a petty argument.
It is.
Let's be honest. It is a petty argument. But
But
going back to like people are saying there, like, you know, they'll go to the wall. Lower league teams will go to the wall if they're playing behind closed doors. The only solution I've seen to that is some sort of subscription service where season ticket holders get to free view it, and people that will pay at the gate, you know, can take up a subscription. Let's be honest about it. Sky and BT and all should be doing something here where they go, right, listen, there's X amount of games on across all four divisions. We're going to get as many of them as we possibly can on. All right, we're going to charge season ticket holders for Premier League, for any season ticket holder of any club in England can get this for free, and anybody outside that pays a tenner over the next 5 weeks. Right, a tenner for the 5.
Pay nothing and get a highlights package like
or a tenner for the 5 weeks. You watch as many games. There's a red button. You hit it there. Pick whatever fucking game you like, right? And we give a share to every fucking club, right? Yeah. Okay, and you give a share to every just a similar share. Yeah. Just give it to them. Do you know what I mean? Because the Premier League are going to get that money. Right, and they should be coming up with something like this. Now I understand, like there's so much more around match day than just match tickets, but it's the only thing you can do. I do worry for lower league clubs, but I do know where the likes of Parish and stuff come from when they say, listen, we have an agreement with the FA and the Premier League, and the Championship can't be. The only way the Championship would get out of it is if they've more TV rights than League One and League Two, where they might just do something similar to what they've done in Scotland. Similar to they just call the halt, because they probably don't have the facilities to do it, because when it goes behind closed doors, I can't see it being done at just X amount of neutral grounds.
Yeah.
Because what about Championship League 1 and League 2? What X amount of grounds are you using there?
What grounds are being used for those games?
You know
you're not going to bring Lincoln City and Northampton, no disrespect to them, to, St. George's Park queuing up for Man City, Liverpool to finish. Do you know what I mean? Like where are they putting these games on?
Now, the only argument for that would be, no, listen, we're going to we're going to pick X amount of Premier League grounds and we'll make sure all games. Well, they can't be all neutral.
Yeah.
Well, they can just shift them around so no one plays at their own ground, right? But they'd be better off saying the 20 Premier League games, right? Or the 20 Premier League grounds are some of the best equipped, or they pick the 20 best equipped stadiums in the country.
Yeah.
And they just do all the leagues across them.
Yeah. I mean, there's championship stadiums that are Premier League standard.
Yeah, well, you'd look
League One. Look at the Stadium of Light as well, the Fratton Park down at Portsmouth.
Yeah, you've Elland Road, you've Elland Road, you've Derby County's ground is fabulous.
The Hawthorns as well, where West Brom, big stadiums. That can accommodate this. And if they were to do a geographical thing, you could look at, I know the Midlands gets mentioned, but you've got Villa Park, you've St Andrews, you've the Hawthorns, you've Molyneux, all in around there, you've Leicester, you've Derby, all close by. There's a lot of clubs in that congested area. They might look at that for, let's say, the Championship. Let's go get them all into the Midlands. One of the arguments for and another ridiculous argument, I think this may, and correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone knows, I think this might have been Paul Barber from Brighton again, giving out that playing these at neutral grounds means that teams are losing their home advantage.
Well, they're not, because the home
advantage you can have if there's no one there. Then anyway,
it's not even that. Most of the teams that have 10 games left probably have 5 at home and 5 away.
Yeah.
So just playing them all on neutral just nullifies that anyway, doesn't it?
But they're going to be behind closed doors. So, what's the difference if they play their games at the Amex compared to playing them at the Emirates? Do you know, pitch or whatever? But
David Lennon feels that fans will congregate regardless of what's being done. Well, then maybe the St. George's Park thing is an argument, a closed-off complex where they've 13 pitches and they just decide that they're going to do this. But 13 pitches isn't enough for 4 divisions.
No.
There's what's that? There's how many? 24 teams in the Championship, is there?
Yeah, 24. Yeah.
So that's 20. That's 72. So that's 36 games a weekend plus the 10. That's 46 games in a weekend. Although you probably could do it. You probably just fucking 11, 2, 5, and fucking 8.
Yeah.
And you do it like that. You could do that, and you could say, right, listen, every day we're gonna have a weekend of football. So whatever was meant to be on that weekend is going to be played today, and then we're going to.
That's what these guys are going to paid for.
Yeah, and they're probably going to do it. They should do it Saturday, Wednesday. 5 weeks, 10 games each. Boom, you're done.
Yeah, and that's it. Like I said, there's people that are, bigger and smarter than what we are, and I'm sure they're looking at how to get this done. And that comes back to an earlier point that, this isn't just something that's being decided today. We're going to start back on Wednesday, let's go. It has to be planned in advance. And these are the things. It's not just about getting the games played. It's about safety. It's about not taking resources away from the NHS and things like that. And again, this is all sort of being planned for about 6 weeks away, 5-6 weeks. So, they're basing it on the fact that, maybe the curve will be sort of flattened by then, and the threat of COVID-19 isn't going to go away. So I think, players, without sounding too harsh, you have to sort of move. Life has to move on. You can't be afraid to leave your house in 6 weeks.
No, but my argument to the whole thing is that you try to get this season done and you hope for a vaccine.
Yeah.
And if the vaccine lands on the sweet spot, which would be, between the end of July and the end of August, you're laughing.
Yeah,
you just vaccinate everyone, but nobody does know. But you have to work on what you do know, and you do know that there's 75% of a season completed.
Yeah.
And I go back to it. 2 months, 2 hits is just not it. Shane Anders there says St. George's Park has been announced. I didn't hear that, Shane, so apologies on that. David Lennon, let me see. David Lennon there says vaccine is 18 months away. I don't think it is. Now, David Lennon will probably tell me he's a fucking biochemist and it is.
Yeah.
But anyone you'd hope that it'd be less than that, way less than that. But it's I don't know the solution. I don't know the solution with regards to what I mean by that is I don't know the solution to where you play games, how you play games. You know, the idea of everyone. I don't get the idea of everyone playing their home games at home and everyone playing away games away, because I think David Lennon is right there. It's too easy for people to congregate. You know, you've that Joe Anderson, fucking mayor of Liverpool, who's meant to be the mayor of the city of Liverpool, right?
Well, that's another agenda merchant, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but you know what? He does my head in. All right, he's an Evertonian. That's absolutely fine. But the way he shows boys at times is ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's the mayor of the city of Liverpool.
Exactly.
All right, not the Everton borough of Liverpool.
Yeah.
All right, he's the mayor of the city of Liverpool, and he coming out with statements like, "Oh, well, I don't believe if Liverpool play out behind closed doors and win the title, people won't congregate." Well, that's a way to talk about your people.
Yeah.
You know, why didn't he come out and say, listen, if it's played behind closed doors, Liverpool win the title, I fully expect Liverpool fans to adhere by the regulations that are being put in place in the government, because you know why, like, you know, they're good people and they know they know what to do. And this is the same mayor that went walk, you know, this is the same fella that bigs himself up over, like, you know, how good the city were for the Hillsborough disaster and stuff like that, and then to come out and talk about people like that is a fucking disgrace, to be perfectly honest with you.
It is a disgrace.
But look,
expect any less from him.
I'm not getting into him. I'm not giving any more fucking time to him. Are we gonna have random questions, Keith? Are we allowed?
Yeah, why not? Let's have a few. I seen Dylan put one up there a minute ago about what people are watching since the biggest load of shit you've been watching since sport has been off the telly. Well,
Gangs of London.
Gangs of London, yeah, you're not a fan of that, eh? Shocking. It could be a controversial one because I think a lot of people do like it. Now, I haven't watched it myself, but I don't think I will, judging on some of the reviews I'm hearing.
The gang, I don't want to give too much away on Gangs of London. It's a great concept, but it's so fucking outlandish. It's mad. I heard somebody describe the last 5 episodes of as a circus, and I go along with that. But the biggest load of shit, Sky is desperate, isn't it?
Oh, it's muck. It's terrible. You know, it's reviews of seasons from
the championship.
The championship, championship season review 2012, 2012. Like, no disrespect.
The only entertaining thing about them is you're watching them going,
oh, I remember him. Oh,
yeah. What year was that? Burnley, how many times have Burnley gone up? That's all I kept thinking. Paul says,
and if you want that, just watch like Reeling in the Years, if you like reminiscing about what year.
Reeling in the Years is amazing. Paul's not impressed, and I wouldn't say Kaylee sitting beside him is either, if she likes Gangs of London, because it says Gangs of London is fantastic. I just didn't like it. I tried to get into it. It started off really well, and then it was just wrong. There's one there. People think I'm weird for that.
Yeah. The Gangs of London or the Lord of the Rings Harry Potter thing? That's
the Lord of the Rings Harry Potter thing.
I don't watch Harry Potter myself, but I have seen the Lord of the Rings. Your film, it's becoming a thing now that you don't watch popular films.
No, it's just, do you know what? I never watched James Bond.
Yeah,
I never watched them, and
it's a weird one.
My earliest memories of James Bond be on around Christmas. You know, like they were on around. You always showed them at Christmas. Something I never got into. You know, I just didn't get into it. Star Trek, not a fucking chance. Star Wars, not a chance. Anything with Star Warsy alien shit, right?
Sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't happen, right? What's the lads that eat the blood?
Vampires.
I don't like them. And what's zombies. The other things? Zombies.
Yes,
not having them. And for another thing, I watched a bit of Game of Thrones. That's brutal as well, right? Because your woman has 2 little dinosaurs. Well, not little, they're quite big, tied up in a cave with on chains that you tie a bleeding bike up with. Them dinosaurs just rip them up and tell you to piss off.
They're dragons.
Very unrealistic. Very unrealistic. Chris Brack says it's almost as weird as you've never had an Indian. I've never eaten Indian food.
That is something that sort of doesn't sit right at all, you know. Do you not fancy going for an Indian now? Do you not feel the pressure is on you?
No.
That the word is out there now, you know, the streets are talking. Gavin Doyle has never had an Indian. They're going to be ordering, you know what the LFC Twitter family is like. They'll start ordering Indians to your house, skips, lilt, and Indians. So,
I'll take the skip lilt. I'll take the palette of lilt. No problem. Lilt is brilliant. It's a totally tropical taste. No, it's, again, you know, like I'm from the north side of Dublin, we are brought up on fucking chips and, you know, we're Findus crispy pancakes, you know, that sort of messing, and then but you get a takeaway, you get a chip, or so you get your chips and your burger or whatever else, or batter burger, batter sauce, whatever it is. But I think the first kind of one was Chinese, and I just love Chinese food.
I love it myself.
I love it, and I've obviously eaten in Italian restaurants. I've had Thai once. Once, yeah, I was at a Christmas deal. Where they booked a restaurant, and it was a Thai restaurant in Dublin City, just across from Kyo's pub, that famous pub off Grafton Street. It was nice, it was lovely. A lot of peanut butter floating around.
Was it called the Chili House? Not the Chili House, the Chili Club.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah,
I was in there a few times. Nice, very
nice.
You
go in and you go in. There's an upstairs and downstairs.
Casino across the road or something.
The back of Cafe and Sen is across the road.
Yeah.
But it was nice, but just where I am, it was all right. There was a lot of peanut butter messing hanging around the Thai gaff.
Yeah, much more watery sort of carry on than your curry.
Yeah, and then Lord of the Rings now, Harry Potter, what a fucking chance. Like,
I can understand those, anything with a bit fantasy stuff, I'm not really into myself, but when we go back to James Bond, the later ones with Daniel Craig are good, just standalone sort of action films without the nonsense of, the Roger Moore and Sean Connery. Avoid all them ones. Just go for the Daniel Craig and you'll be all right. Or not.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
Rocky 4, I think, should be your priority.
Well, Rocky 4 is my priority because I have, and people will laugh, and I was interviewing Chris Pajak the other day and for Redmen TV, and it was we were both on video, and he had loads of DVDs behind him, and I was like, DVDs, and I was interested because I have a similar setup, like I have a small room under the stairs. It's not a pantry before anyone starts, and it's just shelves all the way around, and it was shelves specifically to put DVDs on when we moved in about 15 years ago. And I said to him, DVDs? He goes, yeah, I'm going the other way. He said, I'm actually picking up DVDs now to watch. He said, I'm starting to listen to vinyl and stuff, but I'm going the other way, he said. And I was like, yeah, fair point. So, like, when a Rocky thing is, like, I literally came across the Rocky box set 1 to 5, and I was asking the lads in the WhatsApp group, they're like, 1 is alright, 2 is okay, 3 is okay, 4 is brilliant, and don't go near 5. And I just haven't got to 4.
You've watched 1, 2, and 3 and just have stopped on 4.
I just haven't got to 4, yeah. And like, I've a mad urge to watch the Mighty Ducks tonight. Remember the Mighty Ducks film from the early 90s? I've a mad urge to watch that tonight. So
it's mad how these things happen. I was watching The Chase or something the other day, and a question came up about a bobsleigh, and I wanted to watch Cool Running. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Things get into your head like that, and it's like, oh yeah, we might stick that on.
Yeah.
But I see a question there from, again, Dylan, what's your Chinese order? What's your go-to when you're ordering this Chinese? Tell me it's not just like a 3-in-1 or anything like that. Yeah, at least being a bit adventurous.
No, I'm not adventurous at all.
No, no pancakes or not.
No, do you know what? There's varying orders depending on whether I'm eating with the family or whether I'm eating on my own.
Yeah.
So the family is usually, my daughter only likes chicken balls and prawn crackers. No. She doesn't eat, and chips. She doesn't eat curry sauce, doesn't eat fried rice, none of that. Then I found out yesterday she doesn't even eat the fucking chicken in the chicken ball. She just likes the batter. I gave her 2 chicken balls last night, and I just came back to find the plate with the chicken on it. But at home, yeah, we're quite plain. Like, it's chips, it's chicken balls, it's curry sauce, and it's usually chicken fried rice. Yeah. On my own, it's usually a spice bag with chicken balls.
Yeah, big fan.
Spice bag with chicken balls along with a tray of fried rice and a curry sauce.
Yeah.
Now, people have told me to try, noodles and all. I think noodles might be a thing I try.
Yeah.
And then people say stuff in black bean sauce. That just sounds horrific to me.
No, black bean sauce is lovely. All them sort of oyster sauce, black bean sauce, all okay. Give them a whack. You won't regret it. Now, the spice bag is a very divisive thing, and I know not everyone knows what a spice bag is. But to me, spice bags have revolutionised the Chinese game until the coronavirus came and set them back.
I'm supporting the Chinese all the way. I order Chinese once a week.
Yeah, I think, we need to keep in contact with our friends, and the spice bag is the way to go. A nice spice bag with a tub of curry sauce, you can't go wrong.
No, you can't. Support your local Chinese takeaways. They've been there for years before this thing turned up. You'd be grand.
Yeah. There's Kieran Thorne in there, after throwing in a comment about his order.
Yeah, there it is on the screen, yeah.
Chicken balls, spare ribs, mixed meat, Chinese style, special fried rice with duck spring rolls. Sounds amazing. I'd say if that was in Gav's house, the plates at the end would have
loads of it still left on it.
The mixed meat and the special fried rice.
The spring roll will be put under the table because it's one of the legs is a bit wonky. Listen, I'm probably weird, Keith. I don't know, but just the way it goes, you know what I mean.
Each their own.
Avo asks, "What are chicken balls?" Chicken balls are funny. My daughter pointed this out as well because she fucking knows everything. But she was sitting there the other night having chicken balls, and she said, "Do you ever notice the way they're called balls?" And I said, "Oh fuck, where's this going?" And she says, "I says, yeah, why?" She said, "Well, if you actually take the batter off that, the chicken is square inside it."
Yeah.
I says, "Yeah," and she goes, "That's mad, isn't it?" And I said, "It fucking is actually, yeah." Like it's a square bit of chicken and around. But basically, Avo, it's a diced cube of chicken. Yeah, and it's basically it's just batter around it.
Batter and deep fried,
Yeah, that's all it is.
Nothing sexy, nothing special, but they are the
whereas opposed to batter burgers are kind of rough with the batter, this is a smooth batter.
Yeah, it's a different batter. Yeah, exactly. Did you? I actually got chicken balls in the chipper before, and I wasn't happy about them.
Oh, can I recommend something to you?
Different ones. Yeah.
Can I recommend something to you then?
Yeah.
There is do you shop in Dunn's?
I do.
Right. If you go into Dunn's, they do the chicken. They're in a kind of a clear bag. I think it's called Farm Fresh. Yeah. But they do chicken balls in the bag. I think you can buy. They're about $5 a bag, or you can get or $5.50, and you get 2 bags for $10. But it's basically you can get chicken balls. You can get what would you call it? You can get like normal fillet. You can get goujons. You can get southern fried goujons. But then they do the crispy chicken.
Oh yeah, like the
in batter. Yeah.
Yeah,
they do all that. Have a look in Dunn's for that. The chicken balls are really, really good. Farm Range is what Dylan O'Rourke says. Yeah, he's right. He's absolutely right. Anybody coming on now, looking at the screen, it just says "What are chicken balls?" written on the screen. You don't know what's going on. We seem to have loads of different people watching us tonight. So anybody watching there, you're more than welcome. And don't forget to subscribe and all that. If that, will we go to 11:30 and we call it quits?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just looking for any more random questions
that don't involve Chinese food, chicken balls,
Harry Potter, or all them messing.
Any update on the air fryer situation?
An air fryer has been ordered.
Air fryer is ordered.
Yeah, hold on, I'll get it out. Do you want me to read out the description to you?
Read out. Give us the listeners are all sitting on the edge of that seat waiting on this.
Someone was asking earlier where you can get a diffuser menu. Following on from Andy's mad stuff.
An MDUA.
A mobile diffusing MDAU. A mobile diffuser apparatus unit. That was it.
That's it. Yeah.
Hold on, look up my orders here. Due to arrive on the 14th of May
2021.
No, this month. No messing with Amazon. So this is a Muesli air fryer, digital mini air fryer, 6-in-1, oil-free, healthy fryer.
There you go.
It has all the bits. Even has a woman there looking really happy to be putting chicken fillets in it. You don't smile like that when you're putting food in.
Wait till you have an air fryer, then you will.
I don't know how many litres it is. I'm nearly sure I read the litrage.
Whopper. There must be a bit. You'll get enough in it anyway, you know what I mean? They're fairly big.
Yeah, I know, but I looked up the litre on this now.
You went for the top of the range. You weren't messing about here. You need to get an extension, build a pantry and stick it in there.
Hold on now. Oh, fuck. It definitely had the amount of litres on it.
Yeah. But you see, as Dylan says, there all them chicken things, them chicken balls and all, they'd be savage in the air fryer. See any frozen gear like that comes out delicious. And
Does it?
I was looking up baking a cake in the air fryer. Now I haven't been able to do it yet because it turns out you need a baking dish to put into the air fryer. I have one, but it's too big. But it only takes like 20 minutes to bake the cake in the air fryer. Like these things are revolutionary. You cook a human head out saying about 40 minutes in these things. These things are the future. Wait, you'll be putting everything in it.
But this says I can use Asia spicy fries. I can do fried corn in it.
Yeah.
I can do fried chicken nuggets, fried lamb kebab, spicy shrimp, and golden chicken wings.
Yep, there you go. You can do everything.
It's a high temperature degreasing, apparently.
Yeah,
that happens during all this messing.
Healthy.
Oh, it's annoying me though, because I definitely looked at the litres on it. Have to see now. I thought I sent you the link to it.
You might have done. You did actually send me the link. Was it 5 litre or something? We'll add this is what the people want, Gav.
In addition, 3 litre large capacity.
There you go. 3 litre large
3
capacity.
litres. Sure, he has one there. It's only 1.4 litres, and he thinks it's a bizzo.
Tell you, these things are the game changers, you know. And for anyone out there, look, I don't work for air fryer. I'm not here getting commission off air fryer, but get them into you because they're absolutely the business, you know. Chris Brack is looking for a live cooking show. Well, when Gav gets
I'm gonna cook a cake.
We'll do it like a Great British Bake Off type of thing. And just can look and see what's the best, Keith's cake or Gav's cake.
Dylan O'Rourke says 12 litres like the young fella in my job's water bottle. That was a brilliant night, that one.
Yeah.
That was a great one.
Since that show was on, I've been in places and I've seen big whopper water bottles. Now, 12 litre is like a bleeding water tank that you'd have in a house. But I've seen big huge things that look like they were maybe 3-4 litre bottles for water with a little bleeding like a rubber handle on them that people carry about, you know, Andy's nightmare, you know what I mean? People walking about with their water bottles. But the little small things you put on a dispenser, like with a little handle on it, you're not going to walk around with one. If you didn't carry that much water in Vietnam, for fuck's sake.
What's the nicest thing you've ever had out of an air fryer?
See, I make spice bags, homemade spice bags and all. I do my chips in the air fryer. Chips are great in it. Like,
would you do a steak in it?
Yeah, you can do. I don't, but you can. My sister does steaks in her air fryer. She thinks they come out nice. She cooks like whole chickens and fucking beef joints, all this. You can do everything in them. But I use it for mainly for chips, like is what I do in the air fryer. But you can put in like any frozen stuff comes out good or real quick as well. You know, it's great. But if you get a little book around, it'll give you ideas. Like you'll be doing your Asian fries and all that sort of thing.
Just doing chips, but.
Plain chips, is it? Salt and vinegar.
Owen Book says, air frying with Keith and Gav, he'd watch that. I'm going to put a fucking cake in an air fryer. And I don't care if the thing goes on fire, it'd be worth it.
Top notch.
Chris Brack asks, what animal intimidates you? We know Grizz fears crows.
Yeah, right.
Now be realistic on this because you can say a fucking lion. But you're not gonna fucking come across a lion in the queue at Tesco. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you know what? Right, animals. Look, I'm not too bad, but you know what I hate? Right, insects. Not that I'm afraid of insects or anything like that, but you know, do you ever get like a spider, right, and it'll crawl on you or near you, and then you just feel like 6,000 spiders crawling all over you, even though they're not. That does my head in. So if I get like in touching distance of a spider, I start sort of going into bleeding anaphylactic shock nearly and sort of breaking down, feeling the bastards crawling all over me. But that's probably animals, not so much. Now, in saying that, I was actually, I work out in Finglas and the zoo or the circus were pitched up out there at Charlestown.
The zoo just moved to Finglas.
I was walking by the car park.
So the car park and there was the zoo.
I was walking by the car park in Charlestown and a fucking llama or something popped its head out at me and I jumped. But that was more out of shock. That could have been a person that done that and I would have cacked myself as well. So I don't know if I want to blame the actual animal on it or whether that's just my nervous disposition. But what about you?
Cats that have their tails in the air while they walk.
Yeah. What's that game?
Sleeving and cats.
What's that game?
Sleevings.
Does
Dogs.
anyone like cats?
I just the few around me must do, but sleevings they fucking are.
Yeah.
Like dogs, like they say, dogs are a stupid animal. They're not. They're just a loyal animal, and they're honest. Whereas cats are fucking sleevings.
And they would. Bastard.
Yeah, and like I've gone out at night to have a smoke, and there'll be a cat sitting on the roof of my car, just fucking, just sitting there looking at me, going, "What are you going to do about it?" Yeah. You know what I mean? Because they're fast little fuckers. Do you know what I mean? I tell you, like they intimidate is probably the wrong word because it's not fairly fucking intimidating. I've no time for mice and rats. Shaq says that as well. He doesn't like foxes either. Foxes are beautiful. I used to drive at night. I used to drive at night through Dublin city centre. That was my job. Through night.
I see them all the time in here.
And you'd be driving. Going back nearly 10 years ago, there was bad snow in Dublin.
Yeah.
And I was a taxi driver at the time. And you'd be driving around and literally you couldn't hear the car moving on the ground. There was that much fucking snow. It was bad that time. But the foxes used to come out and just standing against the snow and looking at them, the light shining on them. Beautiful animals. But mice and rats I've no time for. I'd like if you told me there was a mouse, in this room, I'd be gone out of the house.
Yeah.
And I'm not, they don't intimidate me, they make me skin crawl.
Yeah.
They make me skin crawl.
100%. I suppose it's an idea of hell, isn't it? If you fell into a bleeding hole, I'd fall into a hole, and if there was snakes in it, I'd shit myself. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a bleeding hero here, but you try and just say, right, snakes. See, if I fell into a thing with rats, bollocks, gone. I'd give up. I'd just throw in the towel, eating loads of meat on me. You can bleed and fill his boots there, boys. I'm not going to fight back.
Chris says he was a dog person. His wife loves cats. We have 2 fucking cats.
Fucking women that like cats, isn't it?
Tell you, I don't know. Like, they're horrible. They're just sleevings. But yeah, rats and mice. Do you remember years ago going to hotels? And this is the only way I can explain it. Do you remember years ago you used to go to hotels and you used to have those old blankets on the bed? And they were kind of a hairy blanket.
Yeah.
And when you put them on your skin, your skin is itchy. That's when I see, even seeing a mouse or a rat, I'm like, oh, my skin just crawls.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can do about it. You know, as I often said to my wife, like, you know, I'd rather go in with a bleeding into a room with a Rottweiler. Yeah. Because I just know what's coming. You know what I mean? Yeah. We had one time where I was sitting here one night, and I don't know, I was sitting on the floor in this room, and I don't know what I was doing. I might have been cleaning up the babies. She was much younger at the time. I was cleaning up her toys, and I just seen a mouse run across the floor and under the sofa. I just got straight up and walked out. Right, I put a towel up across the door, and I said, right, that's fucking it. So I went in. She was in the kitchen. I said, there's a mouse in there. She said, you're joking me. I said, no, I'm not going back in. So she said, yeah, I'm not fucking going back in. Right.
Where's that suitcase?
So what happened was, now my wife was there kind of, I'm gonna have to fucking disinfect the whole room now, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, shouldn't have opened my mouth. But our father came around, and he set some traps in the room, and we left, and we went off for a couple of hours, and when we came back, the trap was there, but there was blood all over it. He was after getting caught and getting out, right? And there's a trail of blood all the way across the sitting room, in towards the back of the sofa. So of course, pulled the fucking sofa out, yeah, and he ran. And he got in the smallest little gap at the bottom of the, the architrave at the bottom of your door. Yeah. He got in there and went into the wall.
Did you have to rip it apart?
No, I fucking didn't. I went
just under the away in there.
No, I went under the stairs. I got out my gun. No, not a gun, right? You know the glue guns for the caulk. Yeah. And I just caulked the bottom of the door, the bottom of every door in the back downstairs of the house. That night.
Stuck in there.
Mad stuff, yeah. Stupid stuff.
Story, actually, before we go, right, about 2 or 3 years ago, I was on my way out to work, and I was on the bus, and I got a phone call at 8:30 in the morning, and it was me missus, and she's screaming down the phone, get home here now. We live on a 3rd floor apartment, and says, what the fuck's wrong with you? What's going on? There's a seagull in the house.
No way.
He landed on the balcony, right? And the door was open. She went out and done something, left the door open. Next thing, this seagull walked in and was under the table. I came home. I had to get off the bus, turn around, get on the next bus, come home, ring me boss and say, look, I'll be in late. Why, what's up? Seagull in the house, breaking the shite, laughing. I had to come in, right? Heard him, the kids were standing out in the hall, barricaded the door in. So get in and get rid of that. And I don't know what good. Seagulls are fucking huge.
Yeah.
Huge things.
They wrap chips for a living.
Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know what you want me to do here. I don't know what the game is. Like, you're just bringing me home here to hide behind the barricaded door with you. She goes, "No, go in and get that." So I opened the door and I walked in. Next thing, the door got whipped behind me. Shut. I heard the barricades going back up again. I had to get a blade and towel and chase a seagull around the apartment. Eventually, I got it under the table, threw a blade and towel on it. I thought me misery was over. Tried to pick the bastard up. You'd want to feel the weight of these things and the flapping wings and all that.
Yeah.
Absolute nightmare. I got him. The door's just there behind me, right? So that's
Yeah, I can see it.
I just played and opened the thing and fucked it out in the towel and all that. And then I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I had to run off the edge and see that it just throw a towel with a seagull over the balcony and hit someone down below.
Yeah.
But the towel just sort of flew away and the seagull made his way out. No seagulls were harmed in the story at all, but Jesus Christ, she was panicking about that.
A tiny bird got into Owen Burke's house at the weekend. He attacked him about 20 times and he was only trying to help him out.
There you go.
Yeah,
Tell you, it's the ones you don't expect.
They're very defensive birds, though, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah, like I don't know. Maybe it's just because we're much bigger than them and they don't trust us. They're probably right.
Yeah,
they're probably right.
That's it. They could be onto something.
They could be, but look, they need to be more trusting than people. I think
that's it. That's it. I mean, he probably sensed that his neighbours had been in my air fryer at one stage, so he knew he was in for trouble. I can understand that they've got that sort of, sixth sense that he can sense he was in a bad place for him. But that was a mad story, wrestling a seagull out of the house.
Yeah,
right,
it is.
So will we wrap it up?
Yeah, it's your show. You do what you want, brother.
Listen, we'll call that a day. We're keeping the people too long talking about animals and curries. Gav, thanks for joining me.
No problem at all, bud.
Grizz, thanks for sorry, you fucked off about an hour ago.
Yeah.
It was brief, but it's always a pleasure to have Grizz on the show, even for a few minutes. Thanks everyone for listening and tuning in, and we'll be back again during the week with more top content for you. Thanks very much.